This podcast is brought to you by Legend Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, located in scenic downtown Benson. They got a new location. It's absolutely gorgeous. Check it out. And by listeners like you. Go to Patreon.com/2headed nerd. Become a patron. Support this show.
Once, they were two best friends managing a comic book store. But when an innocent blood oath went wrong, the two found themselves trapped in the same body, imprisoned in a strange pyramid made of long boxes, buried deep below their hometown, where they are doomed to discuss comic books until the end of time. They were once Joe and Matt. Now they are known as the Two-Headed Nerd. And this is their podcast.
Broadcasting from the Ziggurat in Omaha and caverns deep below the metro area, it's our pleasure to welcome you to episode 776 of the Two-Headed Nerd comic book podcast. I am your head number one. My name is Matt Baum, and my free comic book day cosplay is officially ready. I am going to be the hottest Slave Leia at the comic shop.
I'm the Internet's Joe Patrick, your head number two, and I'm sure the local 501st will be thrilled to see you, buddy.
Those guys are dicks. They wouldn't like anything you did, so.
You know.
And even if it was the best.
It's time for another new comic show where we'll review 8 new comics from the past 2 weeks. After that, we'll set you up with our must-read new comic picks for next week.
So grab your brass bikini and get ready to knock back some shots with Bigfoot, some hot Lex-on-Lex action, a return to the pixie-cut Kitty Pryde years, and the Predator rips Spidey's face off. It's all happening in review time in the Ziggurat.
Before we start showing off our Jabba's Palace beach bodies, let's talk about our rating system. The one that came to us during an Ozempic overdose.
It was wild. These are spirit animals.
It ain't just for weight loss, kids. Each comic we review is rated using our 3-point scale of buy it, skim it, or leave it. Then we pick the best comic we reviewed to enter the THN Permanent Collection. Our Synthezoid assistant Macho posts our written reviews on twoheadednerd.com every week, but we only grease up and wrestle about them on our new comics review show. Macho, fetch the baby oil, some rubber gloves to maintain condition,
We're not
obviously.
monsters here. Come on.
And our review comics.
Moving from Star Wars to wrestling may be stretching your metaphor, sirs, but I suppose I've heard worse. Here are your review comics for the week of Wednesday, April 23rd.
We begin with the most violent comic book of the show, Predator vs. Spiderman, number 1 from Marvel. It's written by Ben Percy, with pencils by Marcelo Ferreira, inks by Jay Leaston, colors by Frank Darmada, letters by VC's Clayton Cowles, main cover by Paolo Siqueira and Yen Nitro. It's a great cover. 40 pages for $5.99. I don't need to read the solicit. You know what these are. The Predator is invading the Marvel Universe. The story, it's, the setup's here. It's the hottest summer in New York's recent memory, and everyone's boiling. It's a perfect time for the Predator to come and...
It's a real Son of Sam situation.
Yeah, start killing peeps. And the Predator always shows up when it's hot because he's got heat vision. That's how he does it, you know? He always comes in the summer.
You'd think it would be harder for him to see if everything was hot.
Well, no, but people get hotter than everything else. It's relative. So, you know.
Yes, but think about how much easier they'd be able to spot if it was cold out.
Did you see the movie, Joe? Have you seen the movies? Come on.
Yeah, I'm
Just
saying
that
doesn't make any sense. So, scientifically, it's completely bogus.
Ben Percy is the go-to guy when it comes to mean, nasty, gory stories. See his Wolverine versus Sabretooth run from last year if you don't believe me. He's also done all the Predator versus whoever books. We've had 3 so far. We've got a Wolvie one, a Black Panther one. Now it's Spidey's turn. The Wolvie one was sort of injected into his continuity as if to suggest that the Predator has been around while the Wolverine of Marvel 616 was doing stuff with the X-Men back in the day and there.
It could also be just that it's an evergreen sort of version of continuity that it isn't meant to be like.
I mean, I guess, but they went out of their way to show like, yeah, this happened during stuff you remember. They're not doing any of that here. And this doesn't really fit with any current Spidey continuity because like Spider-Man is a reporter working for J. Jonah Jameson.
Was weird.
Yeah. So much of these like undercover in the beginning while this cop is investigating the murders and super grisly. And she's talking to the forensic investigator and he's like, well, this is gross. I agree. Blah. And he's like, I'll be right back. And then he takes off his outfit and it's Spider-Man, which, you know, whatever. The art here is very good. It reminded me of Joe Q at times. Dude has got his Spider-Man action down. I did not think that when the Predator comes hunting Spidey, it was going to be your typical Dan Slott Spider-Man fun time. But I also wasn't prepared for the level of gore in this. This was gorier than Predator versus Wolverine even. There were bodies dismembered, hanging from ceilings. This Predator is not acting like any Predator I've seen in other Predator movies. He's tearing people's faces off. He's carving out their tongues. Like, he's collecting different trophies. So Percy, as Percy does, is up in the gore here. This is very much death metal level gore, horror Spidey storytelling. So Spidey fans, be warned. Maybe some trigger warnings. There was one spread that was one of the goriest things I've seen in a Marvel comic for a long time. This isn't bad. I had a good time with it. And I think the very end sets up something more interesting than the typical Predator story and Spider-Man being involved and investigating a series of murders and stuff. I should have seen this character coming. It just makes sense. But when he did, I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. I'm giving this a buy it. It was fun.
I don't know if it's a buy it, you know, it's fun. Yeah. But I think this is a skim it for me. It's a strong skim it. It's a lot of fun, but I think if you're not really into, you know, the Predator gore fest, then this isn't really going to be a fun Spidey comic for you. I do think the art's great for the most part. I liked Percy's writing. I think the story works and it lends itself well to Peter's particular cast of characters. The forcing him into the reporter role is weird. Like, they just made something up to make the story work.
I guess. Which you didn't even need to do. You could have just been like, there was a murder. Oh, man, I'm going to check it out, you know, or whatever.
Or like he's already a photographer. Why did he also need to be writing the story?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make any sense to me.
I don't know.
I'm going to give this a skim it. It's good. It's fun. I had a good time reading it, but
really good comic gore. I'll say that. Very good comic gore.
It's very gory. Second goriest comic of the week goes to Superman 25 from DC Comics. It's written by Joshua Williamson with art by Dan Mora, Eddie Barrows, Eber Ferreira, and Jamal Campbell. Colors are by Alejandro Sanchez and Jamal Campbell. Letters are by Dave Sharp. It's 40 pages for $5.99. I'm going to read your solicit here for those of you like Matt who are not up to date on Superman. Superman and Superwoman are still reeling from their epic battles against Doomsday and the Time Trapper, but a bigger problem just appeared. Lex is back. Lex's memory was erased during the House of Brainiac arc, but now Superman's greatest enemy has returned with a twist, and he's ready for a fight to control Supercorp and Metropolis. Well, the summer of Superman is in full swing. Lex is back to his evil ways, or is he?
Yeah. You may be getting your wish. I don't know.
I mean,
I could be wrong. Yeah.
Joshua Williamson, his story is not quite as simple as quote unquote evil Lex returns. And it sets up a really compelling conflict for future issues, especially given what happens at the end. The writing has been on the wall for Supercorp for a while, but now Williamson is revealing the rest of the pieces of the puzzle of the old evil Lex's master plan. And so now you can see all of these things coming together. The whole super gang is here for the most part. You know what? Actually, none of the kids are around. Which is fine with
Thankfully,
me.
the kids aren't here. I don't need them.
Yeah, we all know that. You also got Jimmy Olsen's girlfriend, the Silver Banshee.
I'm still
and
reeling from that one.
and the vengeance-seeking science ghost cowgirl, Marilyn Moonlight.
That was another one that threw me.
Who see our Discord if you want to see me just try to explain to Matt why he doesn't fully understand a character he's never encountered before now. Brutally stunning art by Mora, Barrows, Ferreira, and Campbell, and of course Alejandro Sanchez. Once again, Barrows' black and white flashback scenes are breathtaking.
They really are great.
We
fantastic.
talked about them, or at least I did, a while back when I reviewed an issue that dealt with good Lex remembering a past memory.
Yeah, they've been doing this off and on with these.
Yeah. The good guy superhero artist Dan Mora's pages are shockingly intense. Like probably the most brutal things I've ever seen Mora draw.
There is a sudden moment of violence here, but
like shocking.
And I don't want to spoil anything. I just don't know if I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
I mean,
I just don't.
Yeah,
know.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop short of spoiling what happens, but I will say this: it's not quite what you think. You know, all signs were pointing to the amnesiac, super sweet Lex Luthor getting his memories back and reverting to his old ways. It ain't quite that simple, kids. Superman 25 is the culmination of the past 2 years of Williamson's run, which has been outstanding. If you haven't been reading this series, I implore you to take a chance on it. I'm talking specifically to Matt, but also to all of you that are out there. It's really so good. This gets a buy it from me. It's a fantastic anniversary issue.
I think you should be reading Superman as well. It's very, very good. Don't start here.
Well, sure.
Don't do it.
That's true.
Because I came in and I've read a little bit here and there. I'm behind. I'm probably 5 or 6 issues behind. And when I came in, I was asking a lot of questions.
If you were only 5 or 6 issues behind, you would know who Marilyn Moonlight is.
I did not know. Then maybe I just missed that, or I don't know. Regardless, the comic's beautiful. I like the twist that Williamson put on the story. It's very clever. I like how it ends a lot. I hope that ending sticks. I've been saying there's too much of something in this book for too long. I'm giving this a bite as well. Just don't start here. This is not the place to start. Maybe next issue. We'll see. But
I think next issue will be the start of a new arc, and it might be fair game for new readers.
Yeah, I think they should have started the hot super fun in the summertime, maybe with the next issue. And
well, I mean, milestone issue. What are you going to do?
So, yeah.
Hot fun in the super time of Superman doesn't quite have the same ring to
Hot
it as
fun in the Superman time.
Hey, Matt, did you know that Cullen Bunn is coming to Omaha this weekend?
I did. Yeah, he's going to be at Krypton for Free Comic Book Day. I would love to say I'd go see him, but I don't think I'm welcome there. Anyway, this is Arcana Royale number 1 of 4. It's from Dark Horse. It's written by Cullen Bunn. Art and cover by A.C. Zamudio. Colors by Bill Crabtree. Letters by Joshua Reed. 40 pages for $3.99. Basically, you got a streetwise gambler who has siphoned money from every high-stakes game in Vegas. She's not a cheater, though. I thought she was going to be a card cheat. She's legit
She's just real good.
Really good at poker. So good that she gets invited to the ultimate underground poker game, a game played by spirits and demons using a tarot deck that actually affects the world. She's good at it. She's winning. She's making money and doing well, but I don't think she realizes the effect on the real world.
I don't know if I agreed that she's actually playing for money.
Well, she keeps saying, I took all your money. I'll be back to take it.
Well, sure, because that's her frame of reference.
I guess.
That's what she understands.
Or maybe like she thinks she's winning money. I don't know.
I mean, we'll see, I guess.
There's a lot of mystery here. Fantastic layouts, though. Like a card game, if you ask me, has got to be equally as challenging as drawing a car chase and making it interesting. And Zamudio nails this, partially because the character design is just fantastic. There's just tons of creepy, bizarre characters. It's like an Alice in Wonderland spooky tea party every time she sits down. The cool part is You can tell that he watched a lot of like this ESPN late night poker games.
World Series of Poker.
Yeah, with like all these weirdos that are wearing visors or funny glasses or something, you know.
Right.
And even she wears like a real low cut shirt, and it's obviously so she can get dudes to look at her and not think about the game so much. Like at first I was like, oh, of course, but then I started thinking about it and I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense for
Let's hope that that's what they intended that to be.
The story gets right into the action and then it flashes back, very Tarantino style. There's not a lot of action, but the art is carrying all the subtext and this like really creepy character dialogue. Something terrible is going to happen to her, and she's just cocky enough to not understand it. Everyone that she is playing in this game knows it, but her.
And in fact, this issue ends with something pretty terrible happening to her, but not as terrible as it probably could be.
Right. But it's like that old gambling saying, you know, if you sit down at a table and you don't know who the sucker is, it's definitely you.
Right.
You know?
And the thing is that what makes her so good is that she bets like she doesn't give a shit if she wins or loses.
Right. Because it throws people off. They're just like, oh my God, she's insane. Because she's playing statistics. That's what she's doing. She's not playing cards. She's playing stats. The color work and attention to detail is great too. Whether she's sitting in a really brightly lit casino or a graveyard across from a creature with horns coming out of its eyes and a giant sock monkey that Zamudio somehow makes look terrifying is just fantastic. The solicit likened this to Rounders, but like I said, she's not a cheat, and I really like that. She's legitimately good at this. Her talent's going to get her in real trouble. Now, my only problem
Did they cheat? Were they cheaters in Rounders?
Big time. That's what they did. They went around from game to game taking people's money. Yeah. And then they fuck up and they take it from the Russian mob and they get in real trouble. So, have you seen that movie?
No.
That's what it's all about. So, my only problem with this book is when she's stressed out, she sits down and drinks a glass of blue curacao on the rocks. That's fucking insane.
That stood out to me too.
Like,
and I don't drink, but even I knew that was not right.
No, good God. This is great though. And Cullen Bunn, like in my written review, I call it out, but right in front of it, I'm like, he did it again. This is fucking awesome. I yell at Joe about giving it away in the beginning all the time, so I didn't hear. But goddamn, the guy can't miss at Dark Horse. His horror is perfectly on par, and he's so good at picking artists for these stories. I'm giving this a huge buy.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I think what puts card playing over on card chases in terms of comic book art is that you can draw the faces at least.
I mean, I guess.
So at least you get some personality in the mix.
But like, aren't car crashes cooler than faces?
I mean, it depends on what the car race is all about. If it's about a car crash, well then sure. But if it's not, then. But I thought this was a lot of fun. I am a Cullen Bunn horror fan, and I have been for many years now, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. So just looking forward to more of this. It's a buy it. The art is great.
Yeah, this is a perfect streaming miniseries. Like, please. And like I was saying this earlier, take Miller's Netflix deal away and give it to Cullen Bunn and just let him make horror shows. I'm in.
Breaking news from Omaha. There has been a verified Bigfoot sighting at Lordson Gardens in Omaha, our local botanical garden.
Verified. He wasn't in the botanical gardens. It was near the botanical
in or around
Lordson. It's not like he was touring the botanical gardens. And we don't know if it's a he. It. Okay. They.
He was pruning the shrubs at Lordson Gardens.
Yes.
As we all know, there are many big feet scattered across this great land of ours. My next review is of one in particular, Moonshine Bigfoot, #1 from Image Comics. It's written by Mike Marlowe and Zach Howard with pencils by Steve Ellis, inks by Zach Howard, colors by Nelson Daniel, letters and design by Thompson Knox. It's 32 pages for $4.99. And here's your solicit. It's short, so I'm going to read it. Buzzard County, 1981. Moonshine Bigfoot spends his days making a living while outwitting clueless cops, reckless rivals, and buffoonish Bigfoot hunters. All is hunky-dory until he draws the attention of an Illuminati-esque cabal. With his partner in life and crime, Amethyst, our hairy hero is about to learn that some problems can't be handled just by jumping them in a souped-up Mach 1.
This is where I should say, for fans of Harry and the Hendersons and the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Moonshine Bigfoot is like a fever dream, fueled by the honky-tonkiest, hard-driving TV and movies of the 70s and 80s. If the solicit gives you a Dukes of Hazzard vibe, as Matt intimated, you are on the right track. The issue even comes with a Waylon Jennings-esque omniscient narrator. There is an increasingly ridiculous series of outrageous action scenes that overshadows the story. There is a story, but if that sounds like a complaint, you could not be more wrong. Moonshine Bigfoot gets this Superman-style origin story that sets him up as the premier bootlegger of Buzzard County, Georgia. This comic book is pure, distilled fun. Now, I'm not familiar with the work of Steve Ellis. I've seen the name here and there. However, I am a big fan of the combo of Zach Howard and Nelson Daniel. The three of them deliver a gorgeous looking issue that takes the idea that car chases are too hard to pull off in comics and laughs in its stupid face. If you grew up loving stuff like The Dukes, BJ and the Bear, Every Which Way But Loose, Smokey and the Bandit, etc., you should absolutely pick up Moonshine Bigfoot #1. This gets a buy it from me. It is a blast.
The only thing I would add is maybe if you weren't a fan of those, everything you just named, because there wasn't enough monsters in it. Boom, we got you. Like, here you go, weirdo. No, this book is great. It's hilarious. The art is fucking excellent, man.
It's so good.
It is so detailed in every page. Like, this artist went insane, and the writer is giving him a lot to draw. It is fucking crazy. There's one panel where they're in like a bar type setting with a bunch of like dead trophy animals, one of which is Big Bird on the wall. But if you look and like dig in, you can see all kinds of characters going all the way back. I was totally impressed.
And some of them are characters from these movies that I mentioned, like
sure.
Clint Eastwood and Clyde the orangutan are front and center.
Absolutely. And I feel like Bigfoot can be very difficult for a lot of artists to draw. They either want to humanize him too much or make him look too much like an ape. And that is not to say Marvel's Sasquatch absolutely does not look like Bigfoot whatsoever, and I love it. But I don't even consider it the same thing. So
well, that's because Marvel's Sasquatch is not a Bigfoot.
Right. But this one is so great. Like, he's human enough, but he's still got like big hairy hands and mutton chops, you know, like, so he's still kind of like a hick.
He looks sort of like the Hank McCoy, George Perez beast. If that beast wore cut off shorts and tank tops.
Very much so. And was brown. This was brown. Yeah. A ton of fun. I don't know how they can top this first issue as far as just complete insanity action, but
so I'm gonna try.
It's a buy it. I'm giving
there's something about the Illuminati subplot thing that makes me think there is a big twist coming in the narrative. Possibly. I don't want to say what kind of twist because it's
Stop talking. I'm giving this a buy. This is just dumb. Turn your head off. Have a good time. Fun with excellent art. I can't stress how good the art is. Huge buy.
Point of order, sirs. Alpha Flight's Walter Langowski may not be a real Sasquatch. But in Alpha Flight Volume 2, he was briefly replaced by an actual Sasquatch that looked exactly like his bestial form. But I digress. Here are your review comics for the week of Wednesday, April 30th.
This week's comics start just as dark and violent as last week's with The Slasher's Apprentice, #1 from Mad Cave. It's written by Justin Richards, art and cover by Val Halverson, colors by Rebecca Nolte, letters by Buddy Baudouin. 26 pages. It is $4.99. Here's your solicit. It's very short. Riley, a horror-obsessed podcaster with a slasher villain fixation, is seeking a new career path, helping her favorite legendary slasher, the Hopton Killer, regain their long-lost notoriety while learning the ropes herself. I did not read the solicit before I read the comic, and for some reason, I thought, well, man, they really spoil this comic in the solicit as to what's going on, because the story is told really well. As far as from the podcaster's point of view, who is definitely obsessed with serial killers. It very much reminded me of like that Kyle Stark's book, Those Not Afraid, that we reviewed back in January, about the two serial killers that, join up and they're going after the podcaster, right? But there's enough twists and turns here that I legitimately wasn't sure what was going to happen with the character on the last page. And it turns out both the title and the solicit tells you exactly what's going on.
Yeah, right.
So it's not a spoiler that this character idolizes the killer and wants to be a killer themselves because of things that happened to them when they were young. And I won't spoil that, but the main character's origin was handled very well. It starts with some very brutal murders and very brutal murders. The art is stripped down, but good. For some reason, though, for the amount of gore that's in this, and there's serious gore, there's like eyes getting gouged out and people getting like impaled. There's not a lot of blood, though. And I don't know if that was a choice that they made on purpose or not. Like there was way more blood in that
I'm not
Predator
sure
book.
why you'd make that choice.
Yeah,
if you were already going to do the impalement.
I don't know, unless he was like just like a coloring thing, or I don't know, but there wasn't that bloody. The Spider-Man versus Predator comic, there was blood everywhere.
Yeah, buckets of blood.
Yeah, it was wild. The twist, though, works really well, and it's a gentle twist. And I think maybe they're telling you this is exactly what this story is about because of the journey that they're going to take you on. Like, it's not so much like, oh, I bet you didn't see that coming. There's bigger things coming. I really like the design of the killer here. It's creepy as hell. The story that's set up is great. They've definitely studied a lot of these serial killer podcasts and how they run and how they lay everything out. I thought the art was really good. I had fun with this. It's not by any means a feel good book. Like, this is going to be dark and it's going to be gnarly, and it's about trauma and how it can lead to repeating the violence that caused your trauma. And I think they're really going to meditate on that with this one. I'm giving it a buy it. I found it really interesting. Pleasant surprise from Mad Cave. But again, feel bad comic booking. So get ready for dark.
Okay. This didn't really do it for me. I don't really agree that the art is great. And I don't really agree that I didn't see the twist coming. I know the name of the book, obviously, but I don't know. I thought that there was a lot of weakness in the way characters were sort of drawn, a lot of weird figure drawing. The fact that it was gory but also not gory is just,
that was strange. I will say
it creates a disconnect.
That was strange.
I'm not saying I needed it to be gory, but if you're already going to go that way, just go that way.
Yeah. I guess I thought this was going to take like a hack slash type turn.
Yeah. At
one point, and it does not at all. It's like, nope, just straight up. That's the title of the book. That's what's going on. So,
I'm going to give this a skim it. Like, it's not bad. It's a solid idea. And like, I didn't need there to be a mystery. In fact, I don't even think that they make any claims that there is a mystery, but I don't know. It didn't really resonate with me. This is a skim it. I'm glad you liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, it was fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day has finally come. Our very first bad idea comic.
All we had to do was ask for one, and they gave it to us. So.
Well, I thought we did, and they were like, no problem. Here's just every press release, but no actual content.
Oh, well, there we go.
Well, turns out all I had to do was ask 2 times.
Now, to be fair, this is the preview of the comic that they are putting out. This is
it's a 0 issue.
Right.
It's not a preview, it's a prelude.
Oh, well, okay. A very short prelude to the first issue. It's called
A lead in, yeah. So we're talking about Planet Death number 0. And there might be another reason why it was so easy to get a hold of, and I'm going to go into that here in a little bit. This is from Bad Idea. It's written by Derek Kolstad and Robert Venditti. Who is Derek Kolstad, you might ask? Don't worry about it. I'm going to tell you. Art is by Tomas Giorello. Colors by the great Dave Stewart. Letters by Tom Napolitano. It's 24 pages for $1.99, which is unheard of in this day and age. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a solicit here. Millions of miles from home, hundreds of ships descend into the stormy atmosphere of a hostile, frozen world. On board, an army of resolute men and women brace for the coming assault. They are an invasion force on an impossible mission. Destroy the devastating enemy weapon garrisoned below. Now, the solicit goes on and on to spoil the events of not only this issue, but give away probably a fair amount of the plot of Planet Death number 1. So I redacted it from my written review. If you really want to know, you can look it up. Derek Kolstad is the creator of John Wick. Like the movie.
Got it.
He wrote the movie.
No, wait, the movie?
The movie.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought you meant the ballet. My bad.
The John Wick, the musical. Venditti is here as well. So I did some this being the first Bad Idea comic we've ever read, I did a little bit of research. Planet Death is their first ever wide release title. Prior to this, you could only find them at one of 250 different quote unquote destination stores and only in print. So if your store wasn't on the list, you're out of luck. Well, this print only thing is still in effect. In fact, this comic is printed on newsprint. They talk about it in the back of the book. That we read a digital PDF because it was a review copy, but the back of the book goes into detail. Not only is it on newsprint, but it's using a paper stock that no longer is in production, and Bad Idea bought out the entire supply just for this comic.
Somebody with money is behind this. I mean, somebody with real money is behind.
I don't know how much. I don't know how much that much newsprint costs, but it's probably not nothing.
Cannot be cost effective. It can't be for what they're selling it for. There's no way.
Well, yeah. The publisher offered this issue to retailers in bundles of 25 for just $7.50 a pop, which makes the cost for individual comics on par with Free Comic Book Day books from this year. So I would not be surprised if you saw them on the table next to the regular Free Comic Book Day titles. It paid off big time. Retailers across the world responded. 655,000 copies were sold, making Planet Death number 0 the highest selling independent comic book since the dawn of Image Comics in 1992.
Yes, but it's a stunt.
All they had to do was sell them for 30 cents a piece at cost.
It is a stunt.
Well, certainly. It's a good stunt, though, and it got people talking, but none of that matters if the comic isn't any good. Thankfully, I thought it was fucking awesome.
It was great. It was really great.
As I said, the solicit gives away the brutal hook of the issue. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm guessing Venditti did the scripting here with John Wick's Derek Kolstad offering his creative muscle. Venditti's dialogue between the soldier and the jailer is just like dripping with malice and contempt between the two enemies. Each one paints this picture of their overwhelming armies ready to completely slaughter the other side. It's a very like back and forth macho chest pumping thing. It's an incredible standoff. It ends on the perfect cliffhanger. The art by Tomas Giorello and Dave Stewart is absolutely stunning. Huge, highly detailed spreads full of massive armies wielding futuristic technology, snarling alien creatures that are waiting to cut them down. I know that it said $1.99. I'm not even sure if this issue actually has a price tag. $1.99 is how much the second printing is going to sell for. So you might see these given away for free on Saturday during Free Comic Book
Quite
Day.
possibly, yeah.
But even if it's got a little bit of a price tag, do not pass this up. It's incredible. I loved it. Huge buy it.
Yeah, it's great. Keep in mind the next issue is $5.99 for 48 pages, and we don't know if there's going to be a second or a third issue. Typically, they don't do series. This might be it. That's what Bad Idea does. There you go. You know,
Well, now hold on.
This is not a series.
I believe
there is no info out there about a second issue. Last year at San Diego Comic-Con, they called it a limited series, but is that a 0 and a 1? I don't know.
I mean, okay, but that might be. But a bad idea. Not bad idea. Planet Death #1 is also wide released, which means you'll be able to get it anywhere.
I agree with that. I'm not saying you won't be able to get it. I'm saying it might be one issue and done. I don't know. That's my only complaint. This is great. It's a buy it. I'm looking forward to Planet Death. It sucks that, you know,
They don't do any series at all?
Most of their stuff is just one issue. There's a few titles that have 3 and maybe one that had 4 issues. For the most part, no, it's just one issue. Some of them have been good, but
It's a company that specializes in doing really awesome one-shots.
yeah, I mean, and I guess they're all kind of stunts, which is fine. Because if it's a stunt that gets people to go to the comic shop and buy something and it's quality, good. I'll take it. I'm not mad about that. It's a buy it from me. It just seems like a lot of hullabaloo for something that might be a 0 and a 1 issue only. Speaking of stunts, Kurt Pyers has a stunt to get you to read The Indigo Children. It's called Lost Fantasy #1 from Image. It's written by Kurt Pyers, art and cover by Luca Casalanguida, colors by Mark Dale, letters by Micah Myers. It's 48 pages for $4.99. I'm going to read this one because it's short. There's a world of magic, myth, and monsters that exist beneath the surface of our own. Since first contact was made over 100 years ago, the great hunters have kept us safe from the creatures that lurk in the shadows. But last night, something broke through, and it's up to the rookie monster hunter Henry Blackheart to stop it. Terrible name, but also kind of a great name.
Yeah.
Especially when you see this character.
I mean, I think it's a great name considering the lore of the world.
Yeah, and it's it's a straight up video game character name. And this character is a straight up homage to Cloud Stripe from Final Fantasy VII. He's got a big sword. He's got big spiky white hair. He's got an attitude. Like, there's no question. There's a very video game feel to this. And I don't have a problem with that. The art is great. The monsters look great. The fight scenes are awesome. The powers that the hunters have are all very cool. And like all the hunters are designed in a way where it's like, I could read a story about any single one of them and their weird kingdom that is set up to help protect the earth from these things that live below us. And this has been going on for hundreds of years, right? Teddy Roosevelt is in this book. So it's like an alternate history. It's great. It's so well thought out. And I love the Hollow Earth conspiracy meeting modern sort of macho video game, but also like cop procedural thing that they're doing here. The beginning of the story is brutal. It's like right out of a nihilist Arby's tweet. It's just gnarly. Like a little girl getting hit by a car and stuff after witnessing a grisly murder. But also they are doing this very high fantasy thing. There's werewolves, there's trolls, there's dragons, there's stuff like that. This is fantasy for people who say they don't like fantasy. And I'm looking directly at Joe Patrick.
You don't need to look at me.
Even though
you don't need to look at me every time.
Every time Joe Patrick reads a fantasy comic, he likes it. So I don't buy it. Anyway, the setup is so good. The art is fantastic. The cliffhanger that you're left with right after meeting Henry Blackheart is excellent. And then the book grinds to a halt and we get the return of Indigo Children. Now, I'm not saying Indigo Children is bad. I did not understand this was going to be an anthology book with 2 chapters to it. And the Indigo Children chapter has nothing to do with the Lost Fantasy chapter. It's completely separate. Indigo Children was a series back in 2023. And I don't know that we ever reviewed it either, but it was well received.
I forgot all about it.
I don't think we did. It was very well received. People very much liked it. And I hope that fans of that book are happy to see it back. I guess I didn't get it. And when we get this story, of the Indigo Children in whatever situation it is that they live in. It's either like sort of a future world or
it's almost like a reverse Krypton sort of thing.
Yeah, there's like a Krypton thing going on and an ecological type story here with a disaster. And that's
But like
fine.
they already all have superpowers.
The art is also very similar to the first chapter. So I didn't have a problem with it. I just didn't get it. And I was way more interested in the first story. I just didn't think it needed it.
I'm going to put this out there. We read this courtesy of a review copy from Image. There are 2 pages in between the end of the lead story and the beginning of the second story. In the PDF, those pages were blank.
Yes. And in the actual comic, there's a chapter break where it lays out the creative team, chapter 1, etc.
Those pages are blank. And so I didn't realize we were switching to a new story. And I was very, very confused.
It's jarring. Yeah, it's jarring.
Which is not a problem with the comic. It's a problem with the marketing, I think.
It definitely didn't do the preview version any favors. I'll agree with that. But that's also not the comic's fault. And I would still feel the same way about the second story. I just don't think it needs it. And anthologies are fun, sure. But like this one's already loaded. It's a full comic book.
Yeah.
Maybe just do another Indigo Children series for the fans of that book. I don't know. Nothing personal.
I mean, like it ain't that simple.
You're a good writer, Kurt. Well, they gave him this book. Why wouldn't they give him more of that? I don't know.
No, Image doesn't give people anything. Like he made this.
Oh, right. You come to them. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, this is a buy it from me. I just was very confused by the transition. And then by the time I figured out, oh, it's something else. And I remember at least hearing about Indigo Children. Oh, I don't care about Indigo Children. Which again is no offense to anybody involved. I just didn't read the first series.
Yeah.
I wanted more of Cloud Strife and his magical sword and the intense cliffhanger at the end.
That was cool as hell.
So it's almost like the lead story did its job too well. This is a buy it. The art is fantastic. I really like the story. It's almost sort of like a Magic Order-esque, like they've been here the whole time protecting us and we don't even know it kind of situation. And I'm a sucker for that kind of thing.
Speaking of suckers, let's talk about everybody that shells out money for Wolverine and Kitty Pryde.
No. Our final book of the week goes to Wolverine and Kitty Pryde #1 from Marvel. It's written by Chris Claremont with art by Damian Cucchiero. Colors are by Carlos Lopez. Letters are by VC's Ariana Mar. Cover is by Alan Davis. It's 32 pages for $3.99. You may have noticed that sometimes I say the cover artist, sometimes I don't. It's because I only say the cover artist if it's different than the regular artist.
Oh, I always say cover and art if it's the same.
Different way of doing things.
Yeah, we should agree to do it the same way.
Our written reviews definitely credit the cover artist in every instance.
Do it the same way so everybody understands. We're both on the same page.
Nobody has pointed it out so far.
Fair enough. Other than us.
I probably didn't even need to mention it.
Nobody pointed it out. Other than us.
Other than us, yeah. Here's your solicit. When Kitty Pryde nearly lost her soul to Ogun during her journey to Japan, Logan was there to keep the youngest X-Man on the path to good. But as a mysterious force threatens their lives while staying with Mariko Yoshida, it's going to take all of their combined mutant ninja and fighting skills to protect those that they love. I normally do not pay any attention to these flashback minis. I don't. We laugh about them all the time.
We've yet to read one that knocked our socks off either. So
yeah, right. But the final issue of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine from 1984 was one of the first X-Men comics I ever read. And it was definitely my first exposure to Kitty Pryde, who is one of my all-time favorite mutant characters. So I was interested in this. I thought the story was intriguing. Wolverine and Yukio are training Kitty to use the ninja skills that Ogun forced on her. I like Yukio. She's fun.
Yeah, Yukio's great. I love her too.
We get some insight into Kitty's dad's history with Professor X, which was something I didn't know about before now. I looked it up and it was established, but it was news to me.
Yeah, same. I had no idea.
Claremont's more infamous writing habits are under control for the most part, which I appreciated. This basically, it read like it could have slid right into the release schedule in 1984. There is an interesting, exaggerated quality to Cucchiero's art. It reminded me a bit of the great Rick Leonardi, who was drawing, kind of tie-in books back in those days. His Wolverine is all sharp angles, which I thought looked pretty cool. His facial expressions, though, they're manic.
I'm not a fan. I'm not saying that he's
very weird.
He's not bad. I'm not saying he's untalented. I'm just not a fan of his art. It doesn't.
I liked the way he draws. I liked the way he drew Wolverine. But the rest of it is kind of dodgy.
It's weird.
The action scenes are also very oddly framed, like the layouts.
Yeah.
The way, it's like a larger drawing was cropped in a really weird place. And so you're seeing a strange part of a person's body. It's weird. So Wolverine and Kitty Pryde #1. It's not going to set the world on fire or anything. It also probably has a very narrow niche appeal. I kind of thought it was okay, which is a rarity when it comes to Marvel's series of retro titles. I'm giving this one a skim it, which is what I think we've given pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
But I will say that I at least had some built-in affection for Kitty Pryde and Wolverine from the 80s. So
I don't know. This feels phoned in to me. This feels like they came to Chris, they offered him some money to write something that played on Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. Quite honestly, I know I've read that. It did not stay with me. And I cannot say that, yeah, it's a classic that has like all the cachet of this other stuff that he did. I'm not really sure. I would have to revisit it. Like, I know what happened in the book, but I don't know if we needed to revisit it. And if we're revisiting that story to do this, which seems to lead into something on the last page that kind of lets you know, don't worry, there will be no ramifications to anything, right? Like,
well, I mean, we kind of knew that already.
It's tough already. It's like, you're not going to kill Kitty, obviously. We know she survives and stuff. But like some of this just felt phoned in. There's an action scene with a guy named Kill, a guy named Snare, and a guy named Getaway. And I will let you guess what each one of them do, and it's not well drawn. There's a plot point where Kitty gets snared by Snare, which doesn't make any sense because she can phase, but I guess she just didn't feel like it at that moment. And I don't know. And I realize I'm just complaining about one thing, but that was sort of how this whole book felt to me. Like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? Is it terrible? No. Should you buy this? No. Maybe the entry is you really loved Wolverine and Kitty Pryde back in 1984, and man, X-Men just hasn't been doing it for you since then. But it seems like that's going to be low ticket sales to me.
But I think that's kind of the draw for all of these.
That is.
You really loved the era of the X-Men where Rogue was running around the Savage Land in a torn up shirt with Magneto.
I get it. And it just, I don't know how they're selling, and it kind of blows my mind that Marvel continues to do them because they're all pointless. This feels pointless.
All right, rate it.
It's a skim it. It's a skim it at best, but man, I felt nothing. And
I felt something. So that's,
fair enough.
I think that's a fair definition of what a skim it's all about.
Maybe if Alan Davis had drawn the whole thing, I'd feel differently, but
I doubt that. You're not his biggest fan.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it.
Now it's your turn to tell us what you think about these comics and our reviews on our Discord, where we talk about new comics every single Wednesday. Before we shower off, we need to pick one of these comics to enter the THN permanent collection. Matt, what's it going to be?
I gotta call up the show notes so I can see the whole list again. Jesus. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I get it. We were all over the place, too. It was like things we loved and things we barely tolerated.
Yeah, I think the most interesting setup this week was Lost Fantasy, without question. But I think Arcana Royale was the best thing I've read that I want to read more of. And I think Lost, I'm not going to relitigate our entire review, but I think Lost Fantasy lost some steam, no pun intended, with the second chapter, maybe. But man, I love the setup for Arcana Royale so much. And it's just, this is one of those things where I really know I love a comic book when my first thought is, please make this a fucking TV show. This is too good, you know? And Bun is just, he's good at that. Man, he's good at that.
Nothing says I love comics like TV.
Well, I mean, like, look, you're making a storyboard.
I'm kidding. I get it.
You know?
I'm kidding. I get it. For me, it's Planet Death. I had zero expectations for Bad Idea. In fact, they've been sort of a punching bag around the ziggurat because their business model seems antithetical to actually doing any business whatsoever. And yet, apparently they're a hit amongst the comic shops that carry their product. I just wish that there were more of them. I hope that we get to review more Bad Idea comics. I thought this one was exceptional. I'm very, very much looking forward to the Planet Death, I guess, one-shot, apparently, coming in July. So it's Planet Death for me. Also, it's super cheap, if not free.
They take really good care of the creators, too. Everybody loves doing this stuff, so... We are done talking about new comics. Now we're going to talk about a completely different kind of comics. Next week's new comics. Joe Patrick, it's time to head to the THN Sanctum Sanctorum to make our must-read comic picks for next Wednesday, May 7th. Joe, if you're only buying one comic, what are they picking up next week?
My pick for next week is Los Monstruos, #1 from Dark Horse. It's written by James Robinson with art by Jesus Marino. It's 32 pages for $4.99. Basically, it is a hard-boiled detective story set in a version of Hollywood in the 1950s, except that version of Hollywood is populated by classic monsters like
Love it.
werewolves and gillmen and
Love it.
the like.
Like, imagine Chinatown with werewolves.
Sure.
Right?
Why is this my pick? I love hard-boiled detective stories. I love classic monsters, and I love James Robinson. You throw in some art by the excellent Jesus Marino, and like, how could I not make it my pick?
The preview for this looks fucking awesome. This looks great.
Yeah, I'm very excited to read it.
My pick for next week is Blood and Thunder, #1 from Image, Skybound, written by Benito Cereno, and it's based on an idea by Robert Kirkman. But if you just look at the cover and how they're marketing it, you're sure going to think that Robert Kirkman wrote this. Art by E.J. Sue. This is set in a far future where Earth has integrated alien species into a new society. Blood and Thunder is playing on new sets of rules and a whole load of new crimes to solve. But more importantly, the main character has a gun that talks to her. And that took me straight to Michael Morisi's Barbaric, which is a fantastic comic we talk about all the time. Only thing, I don't think this is going to be as lighthearted. Like, Barbaric, as violent and gnarly as it is still a funny...
Barbaric is a dark comedy.
Yeah,
basically.
it's a dark comedy. This is more Blade Runner in tone. It's way darker from what I can tell, which is cool because E.J. Sue doesn't do like a real hard, slick, dark style. He's got kind of a cartoonish style, and it lends itself really well to the story. There's a preview for this that we'll link to in our notes if you want to check it out, but you can find it anywhere. Go search it. I'm not going to link to it. Go find it. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I like Skybound. Getting back to that sort of creator-owned original stories. We are going to get Kirkman writing Battle Beast. We're going to get Kirkman writing Battle Beast here soon. That's not to say I don't love G.I. Joe and Transformers. It's great. But Skybound, they made their money putting out creator-owned stuff. It's good to see they're still doing that. Go pick this up. It's going to be fun.
E.J. Sue, I believe, has been around forever. He's the co-creator of Tech Jacket.
E.J. Sue has been around for a very long time. E.J. Sue
and Tech Jacket was also a Kirkman adjacent. Like, it was kind of folded into, like, he showed up a bunch in Invincible and things like that.
I believe Robert Kirkman wrote Tech Jacket, didn't he?
No. I think it was Ron Mars.
Robert Kirkman.
Wait a minute. It does say Robert Kirkman,
Yep.
but I don't think he...
It was Robert Kirkman and E.J. Sue. That's why he put him in Invincible and stuff.
I stand corrected. For some reason, I thought it was not Kirkman who wrote it, but I stand corrected.
Excelsior!
That is it for THN 776. If you dig our new comic show, check out our YouTube channel. And while you're there, like, subscribe. It hurts me just to say that shit out loud, but we need you to do it. Where you can subscribe to all our shows separately. We got a back issue show and we got a gang hang. You can also listen to our podcast wherever podcasts are given away for free because, like I always mention, it is a terrible way to make money. Also, be sure, if you like what you hear, review us on your favorite podcast provider. It really helps.
Next week, the Back Issue Show returns for part 2 of our Cosmic Short Box discussion of the first Batman Hush storyline.
For real this time. We promise.
If you need more THN before then, join us for the THN Gang Hang on Saturdays at 11 o'clock Central. You can check out our Discord for details at twoheadednerd.com/Discord.
We've got a lot of Andor to talk about, kids. So let's get in there. THN is a listener-supported podcast. Like I mentioned, we aren't good at making money, and we wouldn't make any without the generosity of donors like our patron and Ben Grimm superfan, Jeff Hitt. If you support the show like Ben Grimm superfan Jeff Hitt, you can hear this week's extra where the comic pushers set you up with your can't-miss selections from this year's free comic book day offerings. Now, I know they're free, okay? But you don't have to take them all. You might just want to pick the good
In fact, you might not be allowed to take them all.
You may not be allowed to take them all.
A lot of stores need to put a limit on things.
If you got to pick, we're going to help you pick wisely. And you can sign up to be a patron, just like Jeff, over at patreon.com/twoheadednerd.
Before we go, our weekly shout out goes to our favorite comic retailers out there as they prepare for this Saturday's free comic book day.
Or as we used to like to call it, free comic book troll day. Where all the trolls crawl out from under the sewer and come get their free shit.
Make sure you visit your local comic shop on the big day and celebrate your love for the art form. For our Omaha listeners, Legend Comics and Coffee is going to be having their great sale as usual. And as we said, Krypton Comics is hosting a signing with THN favorite Cullen Bunn.
Until next time, true believers, remember to pre-order your comics or your retailer might just set them out on the free table for all those kids with filthy little fingers to thumb through. This is the Two-Headed Nerd, signing off.
So crazy.